Welcome to The Lion Within Us, a podcast serving Christian men who are hungry to be the leaders God intends you to be. I'm your host, Stu Grazier. Let's jump in. All right, guys, it's your meat episode. I'm excited to be here with you, so let's get right into it. So our scripture of the week this week is in the book of Joshua, 1st chapter, 9th verse. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Love that verse, guys. Go back and listen to the spiritual kickoff where we unpack that at length, okay? So have questions on that one, just back up in your feed, one podcast, and it'll be right there. So this episode has been one in the works for a while. This is my buddy, Stu Grazier. He is an amazing guy. He's a retired Navy pilot. He had 20 years in the military. He did a 14-month deployment in Iraq, and he had it was during that deployment, he did a deep dive into his faith, as well as real estate investing, and all the different things just started manifesting through his life. And man, he's done some incredible things. He has lots of investment properties out there, so far as how he's taken the rental properties and turned that into more and more of passive income. But the cool thing that I'm really excited about with Stuart, he's going to talk about, is how he's turned a lot of his focus into helping men grow to be the men that ultimately God's calling to be, but really more with their finances, with their careers, as well as with their families. So guys, it's a great conversation with Stu. He's been married to his wife Crystal for 15 years. They got 2 kids, a 9-year-old little girl and a 6-year-old little boy. They live in Colorado. Fun stuff. It's just this is one. He's got another podcast as well. He works with his partner named David. I've been on that show, just had so much fun with him. When I went on the show, I was like, all right, Stu, you got to come. You need to come hang out on the line within us. So pretty excited that you guys got a chance to listen to him. His story's awesome. Obviously, the service he did to him in the military, we thank him for that. And I just think he's just one of those guys who's really trying to be intentional about being there with his wife, being there for his kids, and being a good steward of what God's provided for him. So guys, enjoy this conversation. Well, buddy, Stu Grazier. So Stu, welcome to The Lion Within Us. How you doing today, brother?
Doing fantastic, man. It's good to see you. Good to catch up. I like your locks, dude. It's looking good. Last time you had short hair, we were talking.
I know, bro, and I got a ton of heat this morning on YouTube because of my hair. I mean, but one of my brothers in Christ, he went to battle for me, and he let the guy have it. So it's pretty awesome. But yeah, big hair goals, man.
Don't let haters hate, man. Don't.
I tell you what, bro. I mean, this dude came at me ferocious. I was like, okay, brother. Oh well. So the rest of my pack guy took care of him though. So
nice. I like it.
It's kind of cool when others fight your battles,
That's right, man. That's right. Gotta have your army.
That's it, brother. Well, I mean, this has been, like I said, a long time coming, man. You've had me on your show, Kinetic, man. You got a lot of things going on there. Man, give us something fun about you first, though, before we get into, like, what you're doing and stuff, man. What's a fun fact about Stu that not many people know?
Fun fact about Stu. Here's one. I have about half of my face filled with metal. I had multiple sports injuries at different times. All ended up requiring lots of surgery and lots of metal in my face. So I had a high school football injury that basically fractured my jaw in half. And so I have a fake tooth right here. I have metal, an entire huge plate of metal across my jaw, screws. And then in high school or in college, I played college baseball and had a dude run me over coming into first base. His knee went into my eye socket, and it completely fractured my entire eye socket orbital here. So I have a huge metal plate here and screws up above my eye. And so like half of my face is metal. And you would never know or could tell, but the surgeons did a great job, thankfully, and didn't impact my naval career whatsoever. But it's something fun about me.
There you go, bro. So you're a first baseman?
No, I played second base in college, okay. And I was covering first base on a bunt.
I got you.
The pitcher took it, threw it down really low, and I went to go aim for it to catch it. And as I was reaching for it, the runner was coming in, and his knee impacted my eye socket as I was trying to catch the ball.
Oh my gracious, bro!
Yeah.
Wow. Where'd you play ball at?
The Naval Academy. I went to the Naval Academy. Played there, Division I ball for a couple of years, and then that injury kind of had a major impact on continuing to play. I tried to come back and play, and I was just skittish at the plate. I wasn't taking ground balls, very well, and so I ended up
Right.
calling it quits after my sophomore year playing college.
I hear you, brother, man. Well, share some of your stories too. Let the listeners get to know who you are, man. Definitely, I'm excited just because I know how many awesome things you're doing. But maybe take us back to your faith journey as well, as you kind of unpack it for us.
Yeah, sure. I don't know how far you want me to go back, but I'll start kind of from the college days. So I went to college. Like I said, played baseball at the Naval Academy, did 4 years there, and then immediately from the Naval Academy, you get commissioned as an officer in the Navy.
Right.
And I went pilot. So I went to Pensacola, Florida, learned how to fly helicopters in the Navy, and ended up doing, kind of long story short, I did 20 years of service in the Navy as a pilot, flew helicopters for 10 years, and then transitioned and flew Boeing 737s for the Navy for a couple of years, until I realized I didn't really like the lifestyle of an airline pilot, which I thought that was the direction I wanted to go, and ended up kind of finishing my career just kind of on the staff route. Finished my career in Colorado, which is where my dad is originally from, and so I had a lot of family here, and ended up retiring 20 years to the day in Colorado. And we are now here and doing life here in Colorado. I'm married to my beautiful bride, Crystal, of 15 years now. And we have 2 amazing children. Colin's age 9, my daughter, and then I have a son, age 6. His name is Wells. And so they keep me really busy. We were kind of joking before we started the podcast. Summertime can be challenging. We intentionally really tried to not do a lot of summer camps and stuff to keep them busy, and really wanted to be present and just do dad a lot this summer. And that can be amazing, but it can also be a challenge at times. And today you gave me the excuse to come into the office and do a podcast. And so taking a little bit of a break from dadding so hard. So it's good, man.
I hear you, brother. I'm curious on the stuff you were doing as a pilot. What did you not like about it? You said you didn't like the lifestyle. Too much travel, time away from home. I mean, what was it?
Yeah, man, that's it. I liked flying. I enjoyed it. But the lifestyle of an airline pilot is essentially what I was doing in the Navy. We were moving people all over the world, flying around the world trips and moving cargo and passengers, and you're just gone a lot. Fortunately, I had not started my family yet. I was married, but we had not had kids in the equation just yet. And just being gone from my wife and from my dog, I just miss them. And so, being gone all the time, living out of a suitcase, being in a different hotel room every night, it's challenging, and it's great for some people, but it just wasn't for me. We can kind of get into some of the motivation behind what I'm doing now, but one of the things that I really wanted to do was just be present at home and be that present father figure for my kids, and be there for everything, right? Like, take them to school, be at the school dances, be at the ballet practices, be at the baseball practices. Like, I'm the coach of my son's little league team, and just be there for everything, right? And you can't do that as an airline pilot. You're just gone. So I just didn't want that type of lifestyle for myself.
I get it, brother. I get it. What about your faith journey? Before you kind of get into stuff you're doing now, tell us a little bit about your faith journey, brother.
Yeah. So growing up, I grew up in Texas. Born in Dallas, lived there for a while. My mother and father divorced when I was 5 years old, and my father moved away. So for quite a while, I grew up in a single family household with my mom raising both my sister and I. We said we were Christians, but at the time we didn't really know what that meant, right? My mom remarried. I moved down to Central Texas to a small town. And small town Texas, there's a lot of churches, and people would go to church on Sundays, and then on Monday they'd go right back to boozing and all the stuff you say you're not going to do on Sunday, but then you go and do it on Monday. So I saw a lot of that through high school, and I said I was a believer, but I didn't really know what that meant, and I probably didn't really walk the walk. And even into being in the Navy, kind of same, right? Like, I said I was a Christian, but really didn't act like a Christian, right? Didn't really act out what I said, was important to me. Shortly in the Navy, I got tagged to go on a long deployment to Iraq. At the time of the Iraqi War, there was the Army was getting deployed like crazy, and they were having multiple iterations of deployments where Army soldiers were just getting killed by going all the time. So they reached out to other services and they asked the Navy to participate and offer up bodies to augment them in all their deployments. And so I got tagged to go and augment one of the Army units, doing nothing that I knew how to do. But I went over to Iraq for, it was a 14-month deployment, shortly after my wife and I got married. But
14 months?
It's 14 months. Yeah, it was 10 months on ground in Iraq with, 4 months of training on the front end, away from home. So yeah, it was a long time. And, again, I said I was a Christian. I said I was a believer. But, I had my big stack of pornography DVDs with me that I took with me to deployment. And man, something happened out there. God driven, obviously, but I really found my faith when I was out there. There was an Army unit and there was an Army chaplain that was deployed with the unit, and we connected pretty quickly when I was on the ground there, and we started meeting on a regular basis. He wanted to start up this coffee shop, this coffee house. There was this old shack, and his Army unit found the funds to rehabilitate it and turn it into a coffee house. And he had, volunteers come and serve coffee in the mornings before everyone had to go to their offices. And we started doing a Bible study together. We got a group of men together, and yeah, man, it was awesome, and really started to start my faith journey, and really kind of figure out what really being a Christian was, right? Really being a believer and a follower. I threw all my pornography away. I started reading the Bible every day. I started, talking with him about stuff, and that just started the journey. And, I just came back. My wife and I started going to church, found a church in San Diego, California, where we were living. And that kind of just started, the true walk. To where I am now, man, I'm light years ahead of where I was. Still got a long way to go, obviously, but then, connecting with David, David, he's my co-host of our podcast and my business partner and everything. We were college roommates together. And, he now lives in the same city with me. And man, we meet on a regular basis. We share offices together. We do work together. We do life together. And we just hold each other accountable to continue to go on that journey together and walk in our faith. And it's been a true blessing, man. It's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that chaplain for the Navy, was it a Navy or Army chaplain?
He was an Army chaplain, yeah, Army chaplain in Iraq.
That's cool, man. So, I mean, was he kind of just taking you as one-on-one discipleship, just walking with you through answering your questions, exposing you to scriptures? What did that look like?
Yeah, we did a lot of one-on-one meeting, and then we did a group Bible study together, and we just hung out a lot, right? We just drank coffee together. We would meet as much as we could. He got his Army unit funded for Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. So we all, we took that class together. So we just, every chance we got, we would just hang out, and I started volunteering at the coffee shop to serve coffee in the mornings for, people that would come and get coffee early in the morning, and just fellowship. It was just a really cool time.
That's cool, man. And so it sounded like that was a little bit of a growing ministry too, which you wouldn't have thought that, been based off the environment, but that's really cool to hear that, man.
Yeah, it was, man. It was, I won't ever forget it. It was definitely some, again, God driven for sure to put someone like that in my life, just a divine appointment, to kind of wake me up. And, also the Thursday bombings and rocket attacks, there's a lot of time to do some serious reflection and prayer and ask for help.
Right. Good gracious. Hey guys, we're going to take our first break. We'll be right back though. If you're a man who's looking for greater spiritual guidance into how to become a better leader, finding resources that you can trust and then implement can be daunting. For me personally, I thought it was a lost cause, and I decided to take the action knowing that I wasn't alone. It was because of this wide gap that we created our Lion Within Us community. And the areas that we're helping Christian men grow are incredible. For instance, we built ways for guys to lean in and grow through fun events like our daily spiritual kickoff, where you get that much needed boost directly from God's Word. Our Bible studies that always focus on how to discern and apply what we learn. And even our amazing forum where you can speak your mind without fear of getting shut down or judged by the extreme rules of modern day social media. On top of all that, we know that many men want help overcoming issues and becoming stronger in many different areas. That's why we created several mastermind groups where the iron truly sharpens the iron. Our community is about having a growth mindset, accountability, intentionality, and transparency. In other words, just leave fake you at home and come to community just as you are. I fully believe in what we've built. I see the impact it's making on men right now, and I would love to have you check it out. So start your very own 30-day free trial today to see how we can help you be a better leader. So if you're ready to take that first step, head over to thelionwithin.us and get started. Your journey begins here. Visit thelionwithin.us, and I'll see you inside the den. Stu, I'm curious, man. So you did all that in the Navy, came back, and now you've really taken a deep dive into. I'm just gonna let you unpack it the way that you talk about investing and real estate. I know that's such a passion for you, man. So what opened that door for you?
Yeah. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. Both my parents were entrepreneurs, small business owners.
Right.
And, even in college, I was like the kid that was like running around the halls, after hours and trying to sell like underground t-shirts, right? Like trying to make a couple bucks. I would say about halfway in the Navy, I really got interested in real estate. I took, one of those like 3-day boot camp courses that the gurus offer. And, they sign you up for like the membership. And then that membership offers like the bigger, more expensive membership. And then it's one-on-one coaching. And I did it all, right. But it was a huge education for me and a motivation to kind of really get me started on the entrepreneurial path and to kind of start to kind of create some assets and get really financially savvy and understanding what it means, to be an entrepreneur and to be financially strong. So I started that journey, started trying anything and everything within the real estate investing space, failed a lot, had some, wins along the way as well. And at about the 15-year mark in the Navy, I got stationed in Naples, Italy. And my college roommate from the Naval Academy, David Gutierrez, was also stationed there. And so it was a really cool time that we spent life together. We rode the bus into work every single day. We went on family trips together around Europe. My daughter was born in Italy. And so, David was there very quickly afterwards to welcome her to the world. And so we just did life together. We worked out together. We had lunch together, and we just started talking about what it would look like after the Navy to go into business together. He had been doing some real estate separately. He owned some rental properties. I owned some rental properties. We started comparing notes, and we knew both of us really didn't want to go into corporate America W-2 job after our time in the Navy, for kind of being in that W-2 space for 20 years.
Sure.
So we decided to start some real estate companies together. He had some challenges with his rental properties through this quote unquote turnkey company. And they were somewhat fraudulent in being turnkey. And he had to kind of figure out how to build a team from scratch and kind of replace the people that he had to fire. And so through that transition and challenge, we built a team. We started buying some rental properties. We started taking on private capital from investors, just friends and family. And we started flipping houses in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which was where he had bought those rental properties. Word quickly spread of what we were doing, just kind of word of mouth. And we started buying and rehabbing houses, turning them into rental properties, and then selling them as a turnkey, investment opportunity for our friends. And it was primarily for military veterans that wanted to get into the investing space and own assets that were cash flowing. And it grew very quickly, to where we were flipping about 50 houses a year.
Oh, wow.
While we were still in the Navy, and we were both in leadership positions in the Navy. He was the commanding officer of a big cyber command in Fort Meade, Maryland, and I was the executive officer, the second in command of a huge 700-person Navy Reserve Center. So we were super, super busy, to the point of exhaustion.
Yeah.
And we had some come to Jesus aha moments around 2021, about a year or so prior to finishing up our 20-year naval career, that made some major pivots for us in our real estate businesses to be a little bit more passive, and kind of led us to what we're kind of doing more now, focusing on our podcasting and our men's group. So yeah, there's a lot there that we can unpack.
Well, I'd love to unpack some of that for sure. I mean, because I'm sure lots of guys are thinking out there, and you mentioned Dave Ramsey already, so I know you had some of that training. So how much did his training conflict with what you were doing?
Big time. Yeah, big time.
Right.
Dave Ramsey, I like to say now that Dave Ramsey is a great person to follow to get you from a negative net worth to zero, right? To zero net worth. But then, at some point you kind of have to contradict what he says. And this is my philosophy. I do think that there is good ways to use debt. You have to be smart with it. But I think that we started to kind of go more of the rich dad, poor dad, Robert Kiyosaki kind of way of looking at things, to use debt, to leverage debt smartly, to go and build your wealth and build your assets. And so we started going more that direction. But we've kind of gone back and forth, and we don't have the right answer. I love the idea of being completely debt free, and we're going back to more of that idea as we've kind of built those assets, and as we've started to kind of start to do that snowball, start to pay down debt. We love the idea of owning those assets that we now own, free and clear. So it's a roller coaster. It's a juggle of what you believe and what's right. But if you go back to the truth in the Bible, like he says, that debt is a slave to the lender, and so we're kind of leaning more that direction recently.
What was the hardest part about getting started with some of this, Stu? Was it the education piece, or is it just the funding? I mean, what was the hardest part of getting started in it?
Man, I think it's scary. It's scary to get started, and that's with anything, right? Like, you can educate yourself as much as you possibly want. There's so much education out there. There's so much information free, right? There's great books. There's great podcasts. There's great courses. There's YouTube. Like, you can find anything you want, but then to actually take action and go do it, right? To go risk capital, your own money, to go ask people for investing in you when you've never done it before, right? Trying that for the first time and potentially failing is really hard.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to put yourself out there. That's something else that I've really had to be okay with. For almost my entire naval career, I was very negative on all things social media, on all things thought leadership platforms. And I kind of finally realized that this is kind of the way of the world, and you kind of have to be known and be out there to get your word across, and hopefully it's all in a positive light.
Right.
But I didn't want to tell people what I was doing. I thought that was all negative, and I now see that as not truth. But yeah, I think that was hard to put myself out there, to be kind of in front of people, tell people what I'm doing. I thought, I needed to be humble, which I still really tried to be humble, but I thought like by posting stuff, being somewhat braggadocious and letting families see what I'm doing and people in the military see what I'm doing was not a good thing. So that's a long answer to your question, but I think just getting started, just trying to do stuff for the first time after you've been educated, and put yourself out there to be in the spotlight to possibly fail is hard.
Yeah. That fear can paralyze us, man. And it sounds like you and Dave, similar core beliefs as well. I mean, so you lean into your faith and you guys just move forward. So, and I'm sure it hasn't been easy, but you're learning as you go.
Yeah, that's right, man. Yeah, it has definitely taken some faith, and taken some blind steps, knowing that God has our back, knowing that He's driving the path.
Right.
Often we get off path and He steers us back on. But yeah, man, there's definitely been ups and downs, and it's been a roller coaster ride. But I think we're in a good spot.
That's cool, man. So, I mean, take us to what you're doing now, like your passion now, what you guys do with Kinetic, man. Like, I'd love to just share with our guys where that's taking you guys to this point.
Yeah. So, kind of at the end of our naval career, we were hot and heavy in the real estate, trying to build those businesses. Like I said, we were flipping 50 houses a year, and it was chaotic. We were a part of some real estate business mastermind groups, high performing men and women that were doing hundreds of deals. And that was kind of what our mindset was, hustle, grind, more. There was never enough, more. And it was all based on fear. It was all based on fear of leaving the military, knowing we weren't going to have that standard, paycheck on the 1st and the 15th.
Right.
And, really, really thinking that we had to provide for our families in the same manner that we were financially in the military. So, our entire goal was to essentially replace our military income with all of our business income, with all our real estate income. And so we were just in hustle grind mode. Now I was up at 4 a.m. every single morning, just hustling, right? Just working. And then I'd go to my Navy job and I'd, be half distracted, not really being present with my Navy job and trying to, build our real estate business and empire on the side. And then I'd come home, I'd high five the wife and kids. We'd sit down for dinner, but then I'd go right back to like my work. Right.
Right.
I was just always just half there. I was half present. And, COVID hit and our real estate, started there was an impact there. Our flips that would take 3 to 4 months were ended up taking 9 months.
Right.
Supply were taking longer and more expensive. We could only get one contractor in at a time to do our rehabs, and we started losing money quite a bit. And it started to be really hard. And we started becoming really anxious, really frustrated. We were having, a lot of arguments and battles with our team, both internally and externally, with David and I. And we had joined this other mastermind group, and we had a life coach. We had essentially like a life coach. And this individual took us through this. He saw like kind of the writing on the wall. He kind of saw where this was going. And he just asked this simple question and he put us through this exercise of what's your life going to look like 10 years down the road if you don't change anything? And he let us sit in that for a little bit and reflect on it and journal on it. And it was incredibly powerful, man, because I looked at that. I looked at what I'm doing right now. 10 years down the road, if I don't change anything, what does my life look like? Yeah. And I saw my wife and I not having a relationship. We were just roommates, right? I saw my wife or my children not even knowing who I was because I was just always working. I was the dad with my cell phone in front of my face, just looking at the cell phone or on a call, right? I said that my faith was a priority and was important to me, but we weren't even going to church on Sundays because that was like my catch-up day to like get caught up on work emails and social media and capital raising calls and all that stuff. I said my health was a priority to me, but I was the heaviest I'd ever been. I was completely out of shape. I wasn't going to the gym. I was overweight. I felt terrible. I wasn't sleeping. And so all these things that we said were a priority in our life, our words weren't matching our actions, right?
Right.
And this aha moment, this exercise that we went through really kind of woke us up, and we were like, all right, we got to change some things. So we took and talked to our team, and we said, hey, everything that is currently in the pipeline for flipping, we're not going to flip. We're not going to sell. We're going to stop everything. We're going to finish the rehabs, and we're going to take all those houses, and we're just going to put them into our own portfolio for rental properties.
Just to rent them. Okay.
Just to rent them. We did big cash out refinances, put them into our own portfolio, and we stopped flipping houses. Everybody that had been personally invested with us, we said, hey, if you want to invest with us, we're going to just pool your money and we'll just put it into a fund and we'll just be more passive and we'll lend that out to operators who need it. And so we just basically changed the entire system and processes within our real estate companies to be more passive and allow us to really get back to what was a priority, like and take action on those priorities, right?
Right.
Go to church, read the Bible, pray in the morning, go to the gym, right? Go have fun with friends and relationship, have date nights with our spouses, have dates with our kids, like do the things that we said were a priority and take action on those. And so we knew we couldn't do that alone. And we knew that, being in masterminds, being in small groups at church, surrounding ourselves with community within the military, we knew that we needed that. We needed accountability partners.
Mm-hmm.
So David and I just asked 10 men that we knew would show up and just said, hey guys, this is what we're doing. This is what we're working on. We want to be better husbands. We want to be better friends. We want to be better fathers. Can you guys just show up once a week on Zoom and we'll just talk through this stuff? Like we'll just sit within an hour. We'll talk through all these things. We'll hold each other accountable to these action steps and see if we can, become better. And so we just did that for 18 months through the transition out of the Navy into civilian life. And it was the most impactful, powerful thing, the most needed thing at the exact right time that we could have had. And, reflecting on it, it was, again, God-driven with the people that we asked to join.
Right.
And the conversations that we had, the vulnerability that we had, the honesty, and the impact that had on our families and ourselves was just huge. And so we knew that men need this. We knew that, there's a lot of identity issues and crisis. There's a lot of challenges with the world and what success means to them, what the world says success means versus what really is successful. And so we built a business from it. We started a podcast just discussing these topics. And man, it's been huge for us. It's been super purposeful. I wake up every single day and I'm just on fire to go help men realize that there's more to life than just making money and work and career.
Amen to that, brother. Hey, we're going to take our second break, guys. We'll be right back. I find it helps me to have a guide at times when I'm reading and studying the Bible. One way that helps me is by using devotionals to guide not only what I read, but insights into the scriptures themselves. So we were blessed to become an author on the YouVersion Bible app. And we saw an immediate opportunity to help others with devotionals around the areas that we spend the most time talking about at The Lion Within Us. So if you enjoy the show, you may enjoy these devos as well. We have some guys that are using them as part of their small groups, as well as they're a great way to get conversations going. So to see the ones that we've created, head over to thelionwithin.us/YouVersion, and that's YOUVERSION to learn more. So that's thelionwithin.us/YouVersion to get started with your own men's devotional today. Dude, I'm curious, man. What does this look like? So you got these mastermind groups. Are they virtual? Are they in person? Like, give us some insight to how you guys are doing this and how you're helping people, man.
Yeah. So, we came up with, I think a lot of people have seen, like, people call it the wheel of life, or, it's basically a circle with kind of pie charts. And so we did that same thing. We call it the kinetic life circle. And we came up with what's called the kinetic man. Kinetic being, hey, we don't want to get to the end of our lives and say, this man had a lot of potential, right? We want
That's right.
to take action. We want to be kinetic. We want to do what we say is important to us. And
Amen.
So we kind of came up with that concept. We came up with the Kinetic Life Circle, and we came up with a curriculum that goes with that. It's about an 80-page workbook document that we work through. We have 2 separate meetings. They're all virtual. We have what we don't really call it the inner circle, but it's the mastermind. It's the main mastermind,
right?
And it's one large group cohort. We meet once a week on Zoom. We said that we didn't want our businesses to impact our family's life, so we do it on a Tuesday at lunch, right? So it's not impacting our nights and weekends to where we're with the family.
Yep.
And we go through each section of the pie, the Kinetic Life Circle, 1 month at a time. We call it getting real. It's the real paradigm. We reflect on what success looks like in our lives for that subject. Say it's family. We ask them really hard questions to reflect on that and answer those. And we discuss it, and we be vulnerable. We're honest. There's lots of tears. There's laughter. Week 2 is execute. Whatever we said was a priority, whatever we said success looks like, we're going to talk about how we execute that. We assign accountability partners. Week 3 is account. So we come back and we talk about, hey, how are we accounting for our actions? How are we holding each other accountable to that?
Sure.
And then week 4 is live. How do we live this out? Not just this month, when it's on the subject of what we're talking about, but how do we live that out? How do we match our calendar to what we say is a priority? What's making it on our calendar, right? How do we live this out on a regular basis? So we just kind of talk through those. We have some really hard conversations. We do Socratic conversations where we throw out a topic and just let guys debate. So that's all virtual. And then
each month it resets. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
So each month is a new topic. So we go through each topic of the Kinetic Life Circle. We talk about family, faith, finances, health, let's see, giving, stewardship, identity. So there's a lot there. That's kind of the main inner circle. And then we knew that there was some barrier to entry to that, because we expect people to show up and invest in that.
Yep.
And so we created a monthly kind of less barrier to entry to get into it, just to kind of see what it's all about. So we do a monthly call as well. And that's just kind of hitting the wave tops of what the topic is all about. They get the workbook. They can work through that on their own. We just do the very first subject, the reflection piece to it. So we call it TKM Reflections. And then they are assigned accountability partner, and they go out and kind of do the rest of the workbook throughout the month on their own with some check-ins.
Right.
And then we also try to do in-person community locally here in Colorado. You don't have to be a part of the membership for that. We just do weekly kind of hangouts whenever we can. And then we do also a in-person retreat once a year for members. So,
man, that's the one I saw. I think I saw a picture online with you posting that. It looked like a great time.
Yeah, man. We've been doing them. We've done a few out of Colorado, but most of them have been right here in Colorado. It's just a great place to do them. Get up in the mountains, get in solitude. We have Olympic style games. We do like yard games where we do competition, which is a lot of fun. We go on, do some hard stuff. We go on a hike. We'll do like some ropes course or something fun, up in the mountains. And then we just, we've had some guest speakers come in. But then it's just a lot of time of just fellowship, breaking bread around a table and, diving in and staying connected with each other and asking hard questions and doing some reflection time and journaling time and just, getting away, right? Just getting away and getting out in nature and giving yourself some space and some time to really reflect on, what's important in life is huge.
It is, man. And guys don't get that very often either.
No.
I mean, churches, I'm curious, what are your guys saying? How are they finding any of this, what they're looking for in their church? Or I'm assuming they're coming to you because the church doesn't offer stuff like this, right?
They're I don't want to talk bad about a church. I think church is a great place, but they can only do so much, right? And I think that there's just more needed. And I think that we have to create more opportunities for people to connect in community. And again, the church does a really good job as much as they can for that. our church, they do men's retreats. They have small groups. I think the difference, though, is that the church doesn't require a commitment. It's essentially all free, right?
Yep.
And, I'm sure you've been a part of church small groups before, like I have, but every time I've joined a small group at church, week one, everyone's on fire, everyone shows up, you have a big group, but then it just dwindles,
Yep.
and by the end of your session, maybe you started with 15 men and there could be like 6 at the end of it. Right. And that's how it's always happened for me. People get fired up to go to these men's retreats and they'll go to them, but then you never talk to anybody ever again, right? There's no follow-up, right?
Right.
And so I think the difference is with something like what you're doing and what we're doing is like we require an investment. And that changes things because as soon as you kind of put your money where your mouth is, you show up differently. And you're actually investing in yourself, and you're investing in the people that you're hanging out with, and you're investing in the community that you're with. You're investing in yourself, and I think that there's a difference there, and you just show up different, and you show up better because of that.
100%, man. Our community, when it was just an open platform for anyone, it had its bright spots, but man, when we made that requirement, it changed the whole dynamic. Guys want to be there.
They want to be there. That's right.
Yeah. Amen. So I mean, what's been maybe some of the coolest things you've seen with your groups and with the growth from the guys that you're working with?
Oh man, there's been so many cool stories in different aspects of men's lives. And all of these men have given me permission to kind of share these stories. I won't use names, but one of the men had a similar story to me where his parents were divorced when they were really young. His father actually left, but he didn't have any contact with his father. He's now age 40. So for about 35 years, he had no idea where his real father was. He basically just left the picture. And through, these conversations of being a father and being present, he really had this conviction that he needed to kind of get in touch with his dad and at a minimum, forgive him, right? Because he had a lot of like anger deep within. And so he figured out a way through his grandma to get in touch with his dad. He wrote his dad a letter that got to him. His dad responded in a letter. And since, it's not like a great news end of story, but like they're starting to have conversations, right?
Yeah.
They've reconnected. They're starting with letters. And I think they recently just got to phone calls. And who knows where it goes? Maybe they meet in person down the road. But it's a start, right? It's a start to creating a relationship with again. So that's a really cool story. We have men that have found their faith. When we first started talking about the Kinetic Man, we didn't really necessarily want to call it a Christian group, primarily because we have friends that don't necessarily identify as a Christian, and so we wanted to keep it open with the idea that, hey, it's a discipleship opportunity, and we've since recently said like, hey, this is a Christian group because we talk every time about our beliefs, and if you don't have that belief, it's okay, but like you need to know that we're going to talk about this stuff. So we've recently said that, hey, this is a Christian group. But there were men that joined us at the very beginning that weren't necessarily claimed to be Christians. They weren't necessarily said they are believers and have since found Christ, found the Lord, and are walking in their faith. We have one of the men who left the religion a long time ago. His family grew up as Catholics. He hated it. As soon as he left out on his own, he never went back. And is recently now going to church again, taking his family, going to small group, doing Bible studies, and just engaging and just on fire for God. And so, really cool to see that kind of stuff too. So, just good stuff, man. We've had a dude lose over 40 pounds, get off of a ton of medication and go on a health journey and hire a coach and just lots of cool stuff going on. So just at the end, man, just really figuring out and defining what success looks like for you and only you, and not letting the world define success for you. And then going after that and pursuing what it means to be successful for you, right? For your family. And with it all centered on Christ.
100%, brother. I mean, what do you say to the guy out there who's listening? Who's like, yeah, that sounds great, but man, I don't need to pay to be in a group around a bunch of guys that's going to make me better. I got my own little group. I mean, I know there's so many guys who are negative when they hear stuff like this. I mean, how do you approach it?
I told him, I tell them that I was the exact same way. I had the exact same mindset. I didn't. I was the biggest naysayer of paying for really anything. I was somewhat, some people call me a cheap. I like to say frugal, but
right.
But yeah, man, I think, do you invest in your bank account? Do you invest in growing your stock portfolio? Do you invest in anything that you want to become better? Like, why would you not invest in your life? Why would you not invest in your family? Why would you not invest in your health? Like, there's something that happens and changes when you invest your personal dollars into something, right?
Right.
The college of YouTube isn't going to get you there because there's no accountability, there's no community, and there's no follow-up, right? You have to have that to grow, right? You have to have people checking up on you. You have to have people that are calling you out on your non-action, your BS. You have to have people lifting you up and pushing you forward to make you better. You can't do that on your own.
Can't, brother. Can't. Well, man, you got to do some incredible stuff out there, Stu. I'm absolutely just blessed to know you and have you share. I mean, before we wrap up, though, man, let's do a lightning round with you. I want some fun stuff out of you before we go, Bob.
Let's do it.
All right, bud. So maybe baseball's the answer. I'm curious. What's your favorite hobby?
I like baseball. I like coaching baseball. My 6-year-old is all into baseball, and it's been really, really fun to be, a coach out on the field with him. And just
you bring a whole nother level to the volunteer coach, bro. Because you played D1 ball. I mean, you're not out there YouTubing how to run a practice.
No, I try to stay grounded, right? I try to not be, the super intense coach at age 6. Maybe we'll get there down the road, but yeah, I love it, man. It's a lot of fun. I recently told this story on a different podcast, but it really fires me up. We've been talking a lot in the family about our values, and we put kind of words and phrases to our last name. And A in Grazier, we came up with always point up.
There you
go. And my son, they have this, like, the other coach came up with this idea where they all have walkout songs. Like, they get little walkout songs as they walk up to the plate, and they have this announcer from the major league, like, now up to bat, Wells Grazier, with the cool little song. And so he walks up to the plate, and he does this every time, and he looks at me down the third base line. I'm the third base coach, and he looks at me and he taps his chest and points up as he kind of gets up to the plate. As for our value of always point up. And dude, it gets me every time. It gets me every time. It just puts the biggest smile on my face, and it's just such a pure joy to be out there and be present, be a part of that. And so we're spending a lot of time playing baseball recently.
Love it, brother. Love it. All right, now how about superpower? If you could have one, what would it be, and how would you use it?
Ooh, superpower, man. To be a better listener. I think just it's a superpower that I think everyone should be better at, and I'm not very good at it. I tend to open my mouth a lot faster than I should, and yeah, man, maybe it's just keep my mouth shut and just listen a whole lot more. That'd be a great superpower.
There you go, brother. How about all-time favorite movie, man? Where you popping in?
Ooh, man, we're these days we're big into the Disney movies, the Disney Pixar movies. I don't know if I can tell you there's a favorite. I'll tell you one that we just recently watched that had a major impact on me. It's still in the theaters. It's called Inside Out 2. I didn't even see Inside Out 1, but Inside Out 2 had a massive impact on me. I highly recommend it. Really, really good. Another one that just came to mind is it's an oldie but a goodie, but Sandlot. It's kind of the baseball theme.
Yeah, bro.
Love that movie. It reminds me of my days of being a child. I wish we could kind of get back to those same days for my children, just to go and play all summer long. No, parental authority, go play baseball, go to the swimming pool, go do things. I like that movie a lot.
It's a great one, man. It's a great one. What's your all-time favorite food, man? Where are you going to?
Oh, dude, Mexican food. All things Mexican food. I grew up in Texas, so like Tex-Mex, that's what I grew up on. But I love Mexican food in Colorado. I love it in New Mexico. I love it in Texas. I love it about anywhere. Like you just put meat, beans, cheese, rice, and all the fixings together in any form or fashion. It's delicious.
Yeah, that's right. You're good to go there. No doubt about it. How about a habit, man? You're with your mastermind groups and stuff. You're coaching a lot of guys. Any habits that you started recently that, man, you just get a lot of value out of?
Yeah, dude, I've been working a lot on just silence and solitude.
Yeah, great.
And what I've been doing a lot of recently that's been really, really powerful for me is, I really enjoy listening to worship music. I really enjoy listening to podcasts. But recently I've been just putting all that away, putting the phone away, not listening to anything, and just going on a long walk, just getting out in nature. A lot of times I'll do like a weighted backpack, like a ruck or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And I'll just go for like an hour-long ruck with no music, no podcast, no nothing, and just like engage in full listen mode, full just observance of what God created, and just like let my thoughts just run and just observe and thank God for everything that He's provided for us. And it's been really, really powerful. It's allowed me to really slow down. And it's allowed me to then be present for my family and for the ones that, my relationships that I desire most.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I love rucking too, Dave. Stu, man, that's some fun stuff.
Yeah.
If I'm not running, I love to do I usually do about 2 rucks a week.
That's my goal as well, is try to get 2 in.
For an hour, you're hitting what, about a 5K?
Something about like a 5K,
that? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, we're on the same page, bro.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's just good for the soul. It's good for your health. It's good for your body, but it's just good for the soul just to and the other days when I'm not doing that, again, just continuing to try and practice silence and solitude, getting up in the morning, getting a cup of coffee. First thing I do in the morning is grab a cup of coffee and open up, the Bible and start reading. I have a devotional that I go to, so I journal, and sometimes I just sit there in silence and just allow for kind of everything to kind of be downloaded.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, that's been a good practice for me this year.
Well, when you sit and think about God, man, what's your favorite thing about Him?
I love that he comes through at exactly the right time.
Right, bro?
Yeah. Exactly the right time. And it might not be in the exact same way that you think he needed to come through, but he always comes through. Right? It's the one conversation you needed that day. It's the one line in the book that you read that morning that just like blew your mind. It's the divine appointment that you had a conversation with that was a networking call. It's the random dude that you talked to at the gym that day that you said hello to. It's the phone call that you needed to like raise some money because you were in a dire need for your real estate deal to get to closing. Like whatever it is, man, whatever it is, he always comes through.
Amen, bro. Amen. What's your least favorite thing about the evil one?
He's really good. He's really good at what he does.
Right.
He makes it really easy to believe the lies that he submits. He makes it really easy to believe that success is what the world tells you.
Right.
He's really easy. He does a really good job and makes it really easy for you to think that you're going to be happier with more things, more money, more power, more social media likes, more thumbs up. emojis. He makes you think that the world is successful by the things that he promotes, right? All the idols that aren't God. He's really good at it.
I know, bro. I know. Well, man, last question for our lightning round, brother, is what do you hope the guys listening remember the most from our conversation?
I think I want men to really think about what success looks like to them. Not what the world says, not what the devil is trying to tell you, what he's lying to you about. Like, what does success mean to you for your life? And then go take action on that, right? And be intentional and be present at home with your family, with your friends, with your most important relationships. Because I tell you what, no one cares on your deathbed about how much money you made, right? No one cares about all this, the quote unquote successful stuff you did. Everyone cares about the relationships that you had with the people that you loved.
Amen, brother. Well, where do you want the guys to go, Stu, to connect with you, what you're building, just all the wonderful things that way that you're serving others?
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. So we have a podcast as well. It's called the Kinetic Man Podcast. Chris, we were blessed with his presence on there quite a while ago. We need to have you back on for round 2.
Yeah, bro.
So go check out the Kinetic Man Podcast. We're a little behind you. I think we just went over episode 350 just recently.
There you go. Awesome,
so
man.
That's been a lot of fun. And if you don't mind, one of the things like I've been talking about a lot is just being present at home with family. We came up with 100 questions. Like, one of the things that we really try to be present with is just sitting around the dinner table, and making that a habit to sit around the table and have conversation with our family. We came up with 100 questions, like 100 intentional questions to ask around the dinner table, to have more of a conversation than just like what you did at school that day and what's the weather and what's the sports, right? Like some deep, meaningful, fun conversations to ask at the dinner table. So we had a list of 100 questions of those. If you want that, you can just reach out to us in an email, and we'll send you that list of 100 questions. You can just send an email to me, Stuart at thekineticman.com, and I'll send you that list. It's pretty fun to have that conversation.
Send that over to me too, bro. I want to use it. I want to use it for
it's
sure.
Fun. So that's it, man. That's it.
Awesome, brother. Well, anything else you want to share today, man?
No, I thank you for this time, man. It's great to see you. I know you're doing amazing stuff, and I applaud you for your efforts. People won't know until you get to heaven how many blessings you've created.
Brother, that's right back to you, man. I mean, you're one of the guys I look up to, you and Dave. So, man, keep rocking it, keep being that kinetic man, and just thank you so much for sharing your story today, brother.
Thanks, brother. You too, man.
Are you a manager, solopreneur, or business leader? Are you a husband or father? Do you have people counting on you to guide and direct them personally and or professionally? Get the guidance and confidence you need at the Summit Leadership Development, an intensive, biblically based mastermind group that transcends the boundaries of conventional leadership. Where there is no vision, the people perish. That's why we focus on the perfect inerrant Word of God to become strong men and leaders in our business, home, and community. Join other men who are ready to speak and embrace truth. Learn how to refine your approach and become a beacon of light in a dark world in all aspects of life. Our intentional monthly sessions will give you an accountability partner to dig deeper throughout the month. The Summit is empowering leaders like you to amplify their influence in the workforce, home, and community. Don't miss this opportunity to become a strong leader in a weak world. Secure your spot today at thelionwithin.us/leadership. That's thelionwithin.us/leadership. All right, fellas, I told you that was going to be a good one, so it did not disappoint. Stu is awesome. So hopefully you guys got a chance to listen, take some notes, maybe think about the way that you're evaluating some of your investments moving forward. I mean, he really challenged some of our thinking right there. So I'm just so grateful for him. I'm just blessed and honored to know him. One thing I want you to think about this as you move forward is what fears are holding you back from taking the action that God's calling you to do. I mean, God's calling you to do something. So are we going to let that fear paralyze us, or are we going to let that faith motivate us to action? Okay, and that's it. We have to move to do something. All right. So, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Share this out with others, particularly if you have any former or any guys in the military, or maybe they served at one point. They probably enjoy hearing a story like this and connecting with him. If you're in Colorado, check out for sure some of the events they have coming up. So I just absolutely love this guy. He's just a cool brother in Christ. I definitely want to support him and what he's doing. Okay. Head over to thelionwithin.us for all our resources, all our Bible studies, the devotions, the access to our community, access to our masterminds, guys. I mean, again, we have masterminds as well. And just not pitting one against the other. Just find a group that works for you, lean in, and make it happen. Okay. So, guys, this is what it's all about, just supporting fellow brothers in Christ. So thank you guys so much. Again, thelionwithin.us is how you connect with us to get started with any of the stuff that we're doing, maybe jump into the community and be part of our group. All right. So, guys, come back on Friday. We'll have a bunch of tips. We'll have some dad jokes, obviously, a book of the week, and we'll give you a fun way to head into your weekend. So get after it. Have a great day, and just keep unleashing the lion within.